eventually I started working as an intimacy coordinator in training. A lot of the times, sets need an intimacy director or coordinator. Okay, so I have my kit with me. This is my mini kit. I take this to every set where there is like a very small intimacy. So for an actor, other than knowing your boundaries, ask questions. I've done a couple of films and a bunch of web series. Once I went back home with the male thong that I showed you guys. I went back and I showed it to my father.
Ever wondered how an intimate scene is shot in a movie? Do you know what actually happens on the set? Did you know that there is someone called an intimacy director in the world of cinema? Did you know that now in India also there is an intimacy director to supervise these scenes? Today we're going to talk to someone who's going to tell you all about it. We have Ankita Poddar, who is one of the few intimacy directors that are leading this new profession with us in the studio. She's done Saas Bahu or Flamingo on Hotstar and Ji Karda on Amazon Prime. Are you curious to know about it all? We are as well. Let's welcome Ankita Poddar. Hey Ankita, what's your story?
Hello. Story is very simple. I grew up in Calcutta. I did my schooling there, post which I was studying sociology from Sri Venkateswara College in Delhi. Had a fun time doing a lot of theatre there. And I've always been the sort of person who's been very much into the subject I was studying. Like in college, others would be like, I'm not doing well in academics. And I'd be like, yeah, I'm fine. Why? Because I enjoy my subject. And it gave me a lot. I feel it sort of rapidly plunged me into art, into understanding gender, into opening up my brain altogether to how to form narratives, how to be a part of, how to understand people in their gender, how society reacts to certain things, imagery, the optics of things. And this is something that I've always loved. And film was something that I grew up with. So when all of this was happening in college and I was doing theatre, I wanted to study film, I wanted to study acting. And the lockdown happened. I came back to Calcutta, really wanted to get out of Calcutta. So I started studying my diploma in film studies from Xavier Institute of Communications in Bombay. And then eventually I started working as an intimacy coordinator in training. There was this woman called Astha Khanna, who I had met before on a film project that I was doing while I was in college in Calcutta. We sort of got along and I got on board, started working as an intimacy coordinator in training. Did a dozen projects with her, I think. And now I'm certified from an organization called the Intimacy Lab. Those people are my agents. That's the company I work with. And it was in collaboration with Intimacy Professionals Association that was based in LA. So I've been certified by both. And now I'm working as an intimacy coordinator here.
Why do the sets need an intimacy director?
A lot of the times, sets need an intimacy director or coordinator is because earlier, in India, the scenes of intimacy used to be two flowers coming together or a bee sitting on this. Or like some head would just turn and they would fall like this and you've gotten nothing of the scene except the narrative somewhere. You're like, the audience is like, oh my God, okay, that happened. There was no conversation about it. Nobody ever actually attempted to show intimacy in a manner where it was recognized. And once the narrative started opening up, in countries, a lot of the times, an intimacy coordinator not being there has led to situations which were not completely pleasant. For crew, for actors, a lot of incidents have happened where certain boundaries weren't set, an individual's boundaries weren't set, or even if they were violated. And a lot of the times, directors have been pushy or used language like, "Ek kar lena, tu to kar nahi payega na." That kind of lingo has always been existent in this country. There's a lot of awkwardness between actors when they do scenes of intimacy, and not having an intimacy coordinator for so long, people have not explored such narratives. And when also you have to parallelly see that the world is opening up. The kind of stories that are being told are opening up. Filmmakers are making braver choices in terms of what to include in their entire screenplay, in terms of what paints a character. And a lot of this directors have decided to opt for such narratives to be included because they need more openness and conversation. And it was the Me Too movement that did bring about intimacy coordinators in the world altogether. The first intimacy coordinator was born out of a story for Me Too because that happened on a certain set. It was Alicia Rhodes. And in India, even Astha Khanna, she was the first intimacy coordinator. And her story also has a Me Too. And it's sad. It's sad that sets have been this way. I'm not saying having an intimacy coordinator now will guarantee you a set which is completely free from any kind of misdoing. But I can definitely say that sets have become a lot more braver, where actors are actually able to voice what they feel, what their boundaries are, how much they can do on screen, how much they can't. And directors are able to actually go and tell this third person, you know, I want this scene to be like this. Giving them the professional control to use the tricks of the trade to bring a certain scene to life is something that has come about only now. It can only snowball, I feel. Because if you are changing the narrative, you also need the people who are helping you do it, right?
So what is the job role of an intimacy director?
So at the very beginning, a production house is going to call us or we reach out to them. They're going to tell us about what film is being made. We get in touch with the director. The director gives us a sort of brief of what they are looking for, what the scene is about, what the basic emotion of the scene is. Is it a passionate scene? Is it a scene of sexual violence? Is it a scene of childbirth? So all of these scenes are scenes that we cater to. Intimacy is of two types. It can be sexual intimacy, it can be non-sexual intimacy. Your non-sexual intimacy would be something like childbirth, like I said. It could be an OT table where a patient is being cut open. It could be a scene where a child is roaming around naked. And sexual intimacy scenes would be something like a passionate lovemaking scene or a kissing scene. So there are two types of intimacy scenes. Now the director is going to tell us what type of intimacy scene it is. What is it that they're actually looking for? What is the mood of the scene? Such things. Then we go back to the actors. We meet the actors. We do workshops with them. The actors tell us what their boundaries are. We work on certain intimacy exercises, figure out how to choreograph the scene entirely with instructions from the director. Then we eventually move to set. We block the scene given the boundaries of the actors and what the director is seeing in a scene. And we figure out what the movement is going to be according to it. The scene is shot, post which we also look at post-production, making sure that the footages are safe, that they've not gotten out of hand. No unauthorized personnel has such footages, and eventually how it's put into edit. So if also, the service we also offer is that if a particular director is forming a narrative, let's say it's a queer couple, and they want opinions on how the chemistry is going to be, what the conversation is like, what are the finer nuances of the body language of a particular couple, is something that we also color. If you want help with how to write this into the narrative, how to write intimacy into a narrative, we get involved at the script writing stage only, if they want us in that place, that is. Yeah.
So Ankita, I really want to know what is in the kit of an intimacy director.
Okay, so I have my kit with me. This is my mini kit. I take this to every set where there is like a very small intimacy scene. For it, it has all the basics if there is any intimacy scene happening. These are the most basic things that I'm going to need. It has deos, because sometimes you're just like, it's nice for people to smell nice if you're going to be up against each other's bodies. I've got mints. Mints are very essential. I've got body tape, because sometimes you need a nude skin to appear. You need some parts of your bra taped so that it looks naked and you can like erase it in post. Or like, because you can't wear a bra, you're taping somebody's chest, breast, some shaving foam, razor in case your private parts need to be shaved and you don't have a razor available. So these are important things to have in your kit. Lots of intimacy scenes are out in the open. So you've got Odomos for that. I have nipple covers. I have panty liners because these are soft barriers. These are things that, more or less you'll need here and there.
What kind of questions should an actor ask?
So for an actor, other than knowing your boundaries, ask questions. Ask questions as to what the scene is. What are you exactly looking to show? If it's a passionate lovemaking scene and the director has told you that much, then ask questions. Are you seeing me orgasm? How much of the movement are you seeing? Am I grinding somebody? If so, how long am I grinding for? Where is the camera placed? Okay, can I give this angle instead of that angle? These are the questions that you can definitely come up with. And there you can also put in that, okay, you know what, I'm not comfortable with this. I'm not comfortable with that. So can we work a way around it? Knowing your rights as an actor is very important. It's your right as an actor to ask for an intimacy coordinator. You can. It's your right as an actor to have all of these in your contract. I have agreed to, and we talk about consent a lot. Understand what consent is.
What are the kind of movies that you worked for?
I've done a couple of films and a bunch of web series. One that has been announced recently is Homia Jania Saas Bahu or Flamingo. I think it's releasing on 5th May. That is something that I worked on. We also have Ji Karda, which is on Amazon Prime. Arunima Sharma directed that. These are the only few that have been announced. I've done a bunch of others. 2 in the South industry, there is something called Iru Dhuruva Kadal, which is a South Indian film which talks about a couple's journey that's coming up.
How did your parents react to it all?
First, they didn't know, they didn't understand. They were like, what is my child doing? Then I explained it to them. Then they researched on their own and came back to me. They're like, okay, this is the interview we saw. This is the article we read. So this is your job. Now I'm excited about it. And they keep asking me what work I'm doing. They're very encouraging. They're like, go out ahead and just believe what you're doing and do it properly. That's a good thing. And once I went back home with the male thong that I showed you guys, I went back and I showed it to my father. He picked it up. He looked at it for 3 minutes straight. Then he's like, oh, this is how it's done. Okay, take. Enjoy. The first time he had a look at my kit, he had a baller time.